Welcome, everyone. Today we're heading into the dense, sprawling wilderness of the Daniel Boone National Forest. This is more than just a story. It's a trial run for my own Bigfoot expedition. I've been fascinated by the mystery of Bigfoot for years, but this time, it's personal. Though our focus is on Kentucky, I can't help but think about the stories from my own backyard in Ohio. Growing up on a farm in a rural community, I had my first encounter with the unexplained. Our hound dogs, Ben and Easy Money, were fearless against any predator and would sometimes freeze at the edge of the fields, trembling at something they sensed but we couldn't see. I spent countless nights hunting raccoons with my dad, where my job was to hold the flashlight, and those woods were filled with strange sounds, the kind that made you question what else was out there. One night, as I sat alone in my dad's old pickup truck, something stepped out of the woods. It wasn't a deer or a bear. It was something I couldn't explain. Did you know Ohio has over 300 reported Bigfoot sightings and Kentucky has just over 100? This is where I'll go next, diving into my own encounters and the stories from my home state. But for now, we're in Kentucky, where history, nature, and the unexplained coexist. Let's explore the backstory and then dive into 3 unforgettable encounters from the Daniel Boone National Forest. Bigfoot is the mystery that defies time and explanation. Stories of large, hairy beings in the wilderness have appeared in many cultures. In the U.S., these accounts trace back to indigenous people, with tribes like the Cherokee and Lakota speaking of wild men. European settlers later echoed these tales, describing encounters with strange wild beasts in the Appalachian Mountains. Notably, Daniel Boone reportedly encountered such a creature and referred to it as a Yahoo. Though the authenticity of Boone's account is debated, it connects Bigfoot to Kentucky's wild regions, especially the Daniel Boone National Forest. Established as the Cumberland National Forest in 1937 and later renamed for Boone, it now spans over 700,000 acres, serving as a sanctuary for wildlife and a destination for outdoor lovers. Yet, its vast, unexplored areas still hold mysteries, with Bigfoot tales remaining particularly compelling. But why do these stories persist? Bigfoot sightings are more than just local legends. They challenge our understanding of the natural world and our place within it. The creature has become a symbol of the unexplored and the unknown, embodying the wilderness's primal and untamed spirit. Despite advances in science and technology, these tales endure, raising questions that science has yet to answer. Could an undiscovered species exist in the forested regions of North America? Why do so many eyewitnesses describe similar encounters across time and geography? What drives humanity's fascination with the possibility of cryptids like Bigfoot? Today, we're diving into the heart of these mysteries with 3 compelling encounters from the Daniel Boone National Forest. These accounts, reported by ordinary people, add to the growing body of evidence that something extraordinary may be lurking in Kentucky's wilderness. Encounter 1. The Footprint and the Shiny-Haired Figure, Powell County, 1978. In the summer of 1978, families flocked to Natural Bridge State Park in Powell County, an area long known for its rugged beauty and deep history. The region's sandstone arches and dense forests made it a prime destination for families looking to escape the hustle of urban life. But for locals, the forest also held a reputation for strange happenings, unusual animal behavior, unexplained noises, and passed-down tales of creatures that roamed the night. One evening, 10-year-old Matt set out on an errand to fetch ice from a lodge about half a mile from his family's campsite. The walk should have been uneventful, but as he moved deeper into the shadows of the trees, the air changed. A heavy, foul odor filled his lungs, the kind of smell that makes your stomach turn. The forest, alive with the chatter of insects just moments ago, fell eerily silent. Matt slowed his pace, scanning the path ahead, when his eyes caught something unusual, a massive human-like footprint embedded in the mud. His heart raced as he crouched, to examine the print. It was far too large for a man, with a width and depth that suggested immense weight. Rising to his feet, Matt sensed he wasn't alone. He turned toward the stream, and there it was, a towering figure, 8 to 10 feet tall, standing motionless on the opposite bank. Its shiny, greasy hair reflected the fading sunlight, and its long arms hung low, swaying gently as it observed him. Time seemed to freeze as Matt locked eyes with the creature. Then, in one fluid motion, it turned and disappeared into the trees, its steps silent despite its massive frame. That night, Matt's family was jolted awake by loud crashes near their tent. Morning revealed the aftermath: overturned picnic tables, scattered footprints, and an RV that had been flipped onto its side. For Matt, the encounter wasn't just a glimpse of the unknown. It was a moment that turned a family camping trip into an harrowing event, leaving him with questions that would linger for decades. Encounter 2. Teenagers sighting on family property, Harlan County, 2013. Harlan County has always been a place where nature and mystery converge. Its ridges and hollows have witnessed centuries of human history, from the trials of early settlers to the rise and fall of coal mining towns. By 2013, the area had become quiet, but the dense woods still seemed to hold secrets, marked by eerie silences where no creatures stirred and strange sounds echoing through the hollers. On a cold January evening, a teenager set out on his four-wheeler to check the trail cameras on his family's 100-acre property near Wallens, Kentucky. The woods were quiet, save for the hum of his engine and the crunch of frozen ground beneath the tires. As he approached one of the cameras, movement caught his eye. Turning off the engine, he sat in silence, staring into the shadows. There, just 30 feet away, stood a figure unlike anything he'd ever seen. The creature was enormous, standing at least 7 feet tall, its grayish-brown hair matted and wet. Its broad shoulders and massive arms gave it an imposing presence, and its dark eyes seemed to take in everything around it. For a moment, neither the boy nor the creature moved. Then, with startling speed, it sprinted away, snapping a small tree as it disappeared into the forest. The boy sat frozen, his heart pounding, until the sound of breaking branches faded into silence. Back at home, he told his family what he had seen. They shared stories they had heard growing up, tales of strange creatures that roamed the woods, passed down from their grandparents and great-grandparents. While they had always dismissed the stories as folklore, the boy's sighting forced them to reconsider. Encounter 3. The Gillies Suited Hunter, Harlan County, 2006. The forests of Pine Mountain, part of Harlan County, have always had an air of mystery. Long before settlers arrived, indigenous tribes revered the land, speaking of sacred places and unseen guardians. By the 21st century, much of the area had been explored, but Pine Mountain's dense woods and rugged terrain still felt like stepping into another world, a world where nature ruled and humans were mere visitors. In December 2006, a seasoned hunter set out for a deer hunt in an old reclamation strip mine on Pine Mountain. Dressed in a ghillie suit, he carried the tools of his trade: a rifle, a deer call, and a rag soaked in deer urine to mask his scent. As dawn approached, he found a vantage point and settled in, scanning the grasslands below. But as the first light of morning broke over the ridge, movement in the tall grass caught his attention. 2 figures emerged, their movements deliberate and almost human-like. Shining his flashlight, the hunter froze as 2 sets of glowing eyes stared back at him. One figure stood over 7 feet tall, its broad shoulders and powerful build unlike any animal he'd encountered. The smaller figure moved cautiously, almost protectively, around the larger one. At first, he dismissed them as bears, but something didn't add up. Their posture, their movements, they weren't like any bear he'd seen in his decades of hunting. Before he could process what he was seeing, a stick flew through the air, landing a few feet from him. Turning toward the source, he saw a squat, monkey-like creature holding another stick as if preparing to throw it. Acting on instinct, the hunter fired a warning shot. The larger figure retreated, growling low and deep, while the smaller one let out a high-pitched wail that sent chills down his spine. The next day, he returned to find his gear torn apart and his food smashed open on nearby rocks, a clear sign that whatever he encountered wasn't afraid to make its presence known. Modern-day expeditions and ongoing mysteries. Today, the Daniel Boone National Forest remains a hotspot for Bigfoot enthusiasts. The forest's dense undergrowth, secluded hollows, and sparse human population create the perfect environment for an elusive creature to thrive. Researchers equipped with thermal imaging cameras, audio recorders, and casting materials continue to explore areas like Pine Mountain, the Red River Gorge, and Natural Bridge State Park in search of definitive evidence. Could these sightings be proof of a creature that has eluded science? Or do they serve as modern folklore, connecting us to the mysteries of the natural world? One thing is certain, the forest holds its secrets close. Perhaps someday, someone will uncover the truth. Until then, the stories continue to captivate and inspire. Thank you for joining us on our first expedition, Bigfoot. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more incredible stories and mysteries. Until next time, happy hunting.